Never gonna grow up, never gonna slow down. We were shining like lighters in the dark in the middle of a rock show.
Last night in Ames, Iowa, Bedlam came early. With number 2 upended, the race to the BCS title is now a wide-open sprint. Tonight, the Oklahoma Sooners are on the road here at Baylor trying to surge to that finish line.
Hey, you got 3 more. We in Oklahoma, baby. People stand up. Remember that. Let's go get it. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The hometown Bears fans have never celebrated a win over mighty OU, but they've also never had an offense quite like this. Robert Griffin has brilliant speed and a rocket launcher for a right arm. He'll look to outduel Oklahoma's talented Landry Jones, who tries to keep their BCS title hopes alive. Coming to you from Floyd Casey Stadium here in Waco. For 62 years, it's been the home of the Baylor Bears, and over the course of that time, there have been few games with more on the line this late in the season. Number 5 Oklahoma faces the offensive-minded, 22nd ranked Baylor Bears. And good evening to you, everybody. I'm Joe Tessitore, joined by Matt Millen, and we will say hello to Aaron Andrews in moments. Oklahoma is dealing with injuries. Dominic Whaley, the starting running back, is out for the season. Ryan Broyles, the star receiver, is out for the season. But Matt, you brought up an interesting point, and you said, Joe, it's not about who's going to step up. It's about the whole team coming together.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, because the coaches can put a game plan together, and they can put people in spots, Joe, but they really don't know until it's game time. So who's going to step up? Well, they know what they can put in those positions, but one guy they do know that has stepped up all season long, and that has been Landry Jones. Landry Jones has been on fire. Why? Well, first, he's very accurate. The ball is exactly where it's supposed to be. Tight coverage, small windows, he puts it right there. One of the reasons he does it so well is he anticipates things. So you can throw to spots knowing they're going to be there. He has great confidence in those receivers, and then he can make all the throws. Well, he'll throw you open. Take a good look right there. He's done it from the beginning of the season all the way through, and he's expecting to do it tonight.
Now, as for Baylor, they have a quarterback who may be one of the most dynamic athletes in all of college football, Robert Griffin III. I think it's fair to say, for a guy who is known for his speed, this year he's talked about as a much more matured, polished passer.
And you can see it. I mean, to be frank with you, if we go to the beginning of the season to now, he's gotten better. And they'll expect him to get even better here tonight. Robert Griffin III does a lot of things, but the main thing that he does is he has great mechanics. It starts with your feet. Always have to have good feet, good balance, nice little bend in his knees right there. He never gets out of balance. See the shoulders straight across, and then he sees that front shoulder, and he drives it forward. Watch this, right inside, front shoulder pointing through, feet are perfect, drive to the ball, point and throw. He has done it extremely well all season long. He's done it early, he's done it often, and Joe, they're going to need him to do it tonight if they got a shot.
And because of him, Baylor fans have been enjoying back-to-back years now as a bowl-eligible team. But this, the biggest home test. Sooners looking for BCS glory. 2 high-scoring offenses with plenty of get-up. Let's say hello to the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Aaron Andrews. Good evening, Aaron.
Good evening, Tess. And you know what? It's guys like you that Bob Stoops is warning his team about, actually. He said after Oklahoma State lost, he gathered up his guys and he said, don't listen to all the analysts, all the broadcasters out there. We are still very much in this thing. We have 3 games left. You never know the way this thing is going to shake out, and it's up to us just to concentrate at the task at hand. He's been very candid with his team. He was candid with them this week. We could be a 1-loss team playing for this thing. So don't worry about what anyone's saying. Just focus on yourself. You never know what's going to happen, Tess.
Yeah, we found that out last night, Aaron, as Robert Griffin III will get his first chance. Baylor receives here as OU won the toss and deferred. And touchback there with Goodley fielding it. So out comes Robert Griffin III. Had season-ending knee surgery in '09, came back, was sensational. In fact, last week showed what he can do late after kind of lingering through 3 quarters. Matt came alive to spark a 4th quarter comeback at Kansas, forcing overtime and then the win.
Biggest thing with Robert Griffin in this offense is they cannot start slow. They started slow a week ago. They do that against Oklahoma and fall down early. That's a position they do not want to be in. They do not feel comfortable coming back trying to add more points.
Terrence Ganaway is the starting running back, flanking Griffin in the shotgun. And a delayed handoff goes to Way for just a minimal gain. A look at the impact players for the Bears.
Well, take a good look at him, and you just saw him. Robert Griffin III is your main guy, but Ganaway's the big power back on the inside. Number one right there. Kendall Wright is the guy who's to make the big plays, mostly in the slot. They use him to motion around a lot. And Mike Hicks defensively is the guy who's going to have to come up big against that three receiver set.
Art Briles, who has never beaten OU. 3 shots while at Baylor, and then one time a loss as the head coach at Houston. So 2nd and 20 after the penalty. And Griffin is swallowed up in the backfield by Frank Alexander.
We talked about getting off to a fast start. That penalty wiped out exactly what they were looking for, because they're looking also, don't forget, these are kids who haven't beaten this Oklahoma team. They're looking for confidence. And they can get confidence off of big plays like you saw. And they took that one away.
3rd and 22 now. Griffin under pressure, and it is caught at the 20. Obviously, it'll be well short of the first down. Terrence Williams was the receiver there. And a flag comes in late.
I think
Corey Nelson was pressuring Robert Griffin.
He took a pretty good shot.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 7. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
That was Corey Nelson, who came in against the junior quarterback.
Well, they come with the blitz, and it's Corey Nelson. When he's in, you have to be aware of him. They're just going to bring him right around inside. Well done up front by the defensive front of the Oklahoma Sooners. They're going to open this, and here it comes, right down the middle. They called him because he went too high, jumped up in his face. But I want you to watch the other part of it. There's the hit. But RG3 stood right in there and delivered that ball perfectly.
Oh, he's a gutsy kid. Ganaway now coming to the near side, and Ganaway is really struggling to find any room against that front 7. David King and DeMontre Hurst were quick to get to him.
Well, Joe, here's the one thing that he has. He has power. Ganaway's a power guy. He's 240-some pounds. He's not going to run away from this Oklahoma defense. This defense can flat out run.
Big, strong, physical runner. They go empty here, and it looks like they're trying to set up the pass, and indeed they do to Terrence Williams, as that was Gerard Monk, who they threw the lateral to, who then had the option to look downfield.
But DeMontre Hurst played it beautifully. Watch Hurst down here in the corner. See, he keeps getting his depth. He sees that it's a backward pass. Great awareness.
And now the screen to the near side with Goodley, and Goodley surges ahead. Crossing midfield are the Baylor Bears. You know, Monk was a high school quarterback, and Baylor, as we talked about, Venables said it. He said, listen, very innovative, gimmicky kind of offense, but successful with it. You can see the hurry up as they race over the ball.
You see how the official is standing over the ball, and that's on purpose. Once they bring a player in, you have to allow the defense to be able to do the same.
This is Salubi now, and he tries to get the edge and makes a move back to the inside. As Salubi is able to get it to the 33-yard line before he is forced out by Travis Lewis.
Salubi has himself a little bit of speed, and he's able to get to the edge. Looks like they were aided a little bit by some hands over at Niver, the tight end.
Salubi's a local kid from Waco and had a couple scores last year against Oklahoma. 2nd and 3, Ganaway the lone back. Play action. Griffin launches it to the end zone and overthrows Kendall Wright this time.
Another big hit on Griffin. Another blitz off the edge. Frank Alexander comes this time. So if you are Brent Venables, it's clear what his message is right now. They're going to bring people, and they want to knock him down. They want his uniform dirty, and they want to punish him early and often.
Yeah, Venables said, as he goes, Baylor goes, and we have to make him pay. They've done that early here on this drive. 3rd and 3 now. They go with the wide receiver sweep, and Reese cannot escape. A tackle for loss that time, as Javon Harris was not fooled. Tevin Reese taken down near the 40-yard line.
One of the marks of all good defenses, their ability to defend the perimeter with speed. Oklahoma does it well. They have the ability to be able to run Baylor is going to struggle trying to get to the edge on this defense.
So fast and athletic, that front seven of the Sooners. So Spencer Roth, the big 6'4", 230-pound freshman punter for the Bears, comes out, and Kenny Stills is the return man who's just going to set up shop at about the 12-yard line. And a fair catch at the 16. So the Bears crossed midfield, couldn't come up with a score. Landry Jones on deck when we return. Our rivalry history is brought to you by Sprint. Baylor has never beaten Oklahoma. 0 for 20. OU is the only Big 12 team Baylor has never defeated. You see that average margin of victory? Not many close games. No. So Landry Jones to pass on Oklahoma's first play of the game, and he completes it to Jazz Reynolds, a sophomore who may be one of those guys who looks to step up with the absence of Ryan Broyles.
He's got it. His whole thing is just be consistent because he has big plays in him.
Roy Finch, and he scoots out to the 26-yard line. Look at the impact players, Matt.
Well, we talked about Oklahoma. It all starts this offense with Landry Jones, like you talked about. But Roy Finch is a guy who can get in space and make some plays. Kenny Stills, that's a guy who has big play speed, can get down the field. And we already saw Frank Alexander getting pressure. He's the guy who gives them consistent pressure on the quarterback.
Jones now quickly over the middle. It was batted away. And Elliott Coffey got his hand up in the way of that passing lane.
Elliott Coffey, son of Ken Coffey, the old Washington Redskin, he was a DB. They moved him into linebacker. Had a heck of a game a week ago. All over the field. Had a bunch of tackles.
Had a couple interceptions against Kansas as well. Was Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. 2nd and 10 now for Jones. And wide open that time is Reynolds. And look at Reynolds go, crossing midfield inside the 45 before he was finally taken down by Sam Hall.
The whole key to this is, first of all, he has the time to throw. And then you just sit down. And that's one of those things that Ryan Broyles is teaching the young receiver. Sitting down in the holes in his zone.
Here's Roy Finch, and nothing doing that time as K.J. Morton came up from that corner spot.
Josh Heupel, their offensive coordinator, knew that he was going to have to fill the void. We talked about that with Ryan Broyles, but he also knew that he had a lot of weapons that they haven't even used yet, Joe. This is a pretty deep and talented roster that Oklahoma brings.
We've already seen Jazz Reynolds, number 16 there. And now Finch coming out of the backfield. They swing it to Finch, and he scoots out just short of the 30. It was Ahmad Dixon who gave a little extra. Oklahoma's offense, #1 in protecting Mr. Jones. 0.44 of sacks allowed. 3rd and 8 to the far side, and Reynolds, did he juggle that?
He juggled it.
So incomplete, as he could not secure the ball before going out of bounds.
This is the inconsistency part that we've talked about with Jazz Reynolds. He's got big hands. You just got to lock that thing down right away.
These things are the size of dinner plates, Matt.
Yeah, they really are, Giuseppe.
But he needed to hold on.
That's
Michael
good call.
Honeycutt will come on to attempt a 47-yarder. He does have a career long of 53. A redshirt freshman has started the last 6 games and has done very well. And you see the big leg of Honeycutt. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Aaron Andrews with you in Waco. 3-zip Sooners. Antoine Goodley on the return now. And Goodley taken down at the 24. First down at the 36 for Baylor. Right, a semifinalist for the Bolitnikoff Award. So finally getting some respect nationally. Ganaway chugs ahead to the 40-yard line. Gave Javon Harris a bit of a ride there.
Well, Brent Venables keeps on bringing pressure. Now, it had a run blitz right inside. They caught him, ran right into it.
And now Terrence Williams at midfield. And Williams puts on a move and stiff arms his way to the 40-yard line. That was Jamel Fleming caught out there on an island.
Yeah, because he didn't get lined up quick. A little bit of medicine right back at you. What the Oklahoma offense does, they're doing the same thing now.
How about this tempo? Look at Ganaway spinning his way inside the 30, and another flag comes in from the defensive backfield.
That's going to be on Tom Ward, and that's going to be a horse collar. I'm not a big fan of this. If it is a horse collar, I'm not a big fan of it. It's a face mask. I am a fan of it.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 6. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the run, automatic first down.
And you can see Ward defending. That's nice. Face and hands. Yeah, he gets all that face mask too. That's a great call.
He had a whole chunk of steel that time on Terrence Ganaway. So the ball is placed at the 14-yard line. Baylor is in prime position to strike here. Salubi now. Salubi trying to get to that edge, and he is forced out at about the 13. It was Frank Alexander who was tracking Salubi every step of the way.
Salubi gets the run, but the guy who made the whole thing happen was Robert Griffin.
So Jaden Bird comes in for the Oklahoma defense in place of Tom Ward. Second down and 9 at the 13-yard line. There is Bird, the junior linebacker. Design quarterback run with Griffin III, and not much running room at all, only able to get to the 11-yard line.
Interestingly, when he runs, he has better runner's patience than he does thrower's patience. Because his ability to take off and run when he's in the pocket to throw, he'll pull it down a little quicker because he has the ability to take off. But when he's a runner, he has excellent runner's patience.
Such confidence in his ability to accelerate. And Griffin, not much room at all, taken down at the 17-yard line by Jaden Bird and David King.
And when push comes to shove, they're going to trust the guy who's probably the best runner, and that's their quarterback. Look, they're going to take the 3 points, and they're going to tie this thing up.
Aaron Jones on for the 34-yard attempt. He's been struggling a bit with his accuracy. Just 5 of 11 this year. And he ties the game. 3-3. Griffin tonight is 5 for 9 for 60 yards. Hasn't been able to generate much offense on the ground. Trey Franks now returning the short kickoff, and Franks is cut down just beyond the 25. Brandon Williams now the featured lone back in the offense. Jones avoids the pressure, steps up, and then that ball is batted away by Mike Hicks.
We talked about Mike Hicks at the stop as one of our one of our impact players. You got to be impressed right now. Jean-Baptiste gets a little pressure inside, but Phil Bennett, he's been mixing up his stuff. He's brought pressure. He's gone a little bit more man. I had not seen that a lot, and I went back even to last year's tape to watch it. He's mixing things up on Landry Jones.
Of course, Bennett, a well-traveled, long-time defensive guru. 2nd and 10 now. Over the middle, and that is incomplete. And it was good, hard defense by Sam Hall to come in against James Hanna.
Good anticipation. That time they dial up just a pure zone. Hall's going to be sitting back, and you are watching the quarterback's eyes. And when he eyeballs it and sees it, there's Phil right there.
You think Bennett's working up a sweat tonight, Matt?
That's the way he is.
Jones looks over the sideline. 3rd and 10. The crowd ready to roar in support of this defense. They only bring 3. Jones takes a strike, and it's right on the hands of Kenny Stills for a first down.
Remember, we said he could make all the throws, and he's accurate. And here's the perfect example. This is a small, tight window. Got to be right there. Stills finds the opening. Jones finds Stills.
26-yard reception on that 3rd down. Fly sweep this time with Trey Franks, and Franks gets to the outside and then tumbles. The ball came out at the very end, and it is Baylor's ball. They upended Trey Franks, and he lost the ball. Joe Williams got in after it. Williams cut him down, and watch the end of this play.
And he doesn't put his head on it, Joe. He puts his body on it. Looks like Jazz Reynolds had a chance to be able to get it, but strange things happen on the bottom of piles. Trust me on that one.
Look at that hit by Joe Williams that sent Franks into a 360 and unable to hold on to the ball.
You play for turnovers. You can't game plan them. And when the opportunity is there, you got to get on top of it. Baylor did.
Delayed handoff now by Ganaway, and he's going to lose a bit of yardage. But that Baylor defense able to stop the Sooners thanks to Joe Williams. He's the guy that saved the day last week at Kansas, breaking up that 2-point conversion attempt by the Jayhawks that we showed you moments ago. And he put on that big hit against Trey Franks. 3-3 game here between number 5 and number 22. 3-3 game here between Oklahoma and Baylor. Of course, Oklahoma still holding out hope that they can be in that great debate among the one-loss teams trying to get to the BCS title game. This Oklahoma defense, they've been keeping them in check in the running game at least. And now they bring pressure, and it's a quick strike this time to Kendall Wright. He has a blocker out in front, past midfield, and there goes Kendall Wright, still on his feet, all the way inside the 30.
Big play by Kendall Wright. Yes, that's half of it. The other half is Robert Griffin. This is an outstanding job by Griffin. He saw everything coming, and then he got a nice block by Sampson, number 3, down the field. And Wright shows not only his speed, but his strength as a runner.
Ganaway, big hole up the middle and a first down for the Bears inside the 15. He was finally tackled by Travis Lewis.
They're going to motion out. You're going to see them widen. That means they're in man coverage. And then Ganaway it takes advantage of the nice block on the inside.
Here's Ganaway again, straight up the middle and into the end zone. Touchdown, Baylor.
Big Griffin inside there, and Blake's in there, and Kaufhold's in there. They did a nice job on the interior. Here comes Kaufhold around on the trap. And then Blake gets up on Wart. And it's just assignment football, man on man, hat on hat. What other cliche can I throw in there? Touchdown.
That was a very good looking drive by Baylor. All sparked by the 55-yard catch and run by Kendall Wright. And then the power game of the 240-pound Terrence Ganaway. And Matt, we spent so much time talking about this Baylor offense and how they have ability to quick strike. That was the 15th scoring drive under a minute this season.
They do that well, and really what it is, it's a little bit of medicine right back to Oklahoma, because they're the same type, and that's what they're going to have right now on this set of downs.
Trey Franks on the return, and Franks caught a seam. Oklahoma trailing by 7. Finch, good block out in front, and untouched until he was already past the 10-yard mark and finally ridden down by Sam Hall.
Two things when you're running outside. One, you have to gain the edge, which they do right there with Eichert. Nice block. And then two, it has to be defended. Well, they didn't do a very good job of it. They were able to get to the edge. Stevenson, the left tackle, did a nice job coming down. They pulled inside out and were able to capture that edge. Stevenson
was so far downfield, he was looking for somebody to find it. He was trying to find somebody to block. First down, play action now for Jones. And he gets it complete for an 8-yard gain to Jazz Reynolds. Well, I really like what I see out of Jazz Reynolds.
Yeah, I just think there's a sky's the limit for this kid. You're just looking for a little bit more consistency. You know, when he can do it. He has good hands, but he doesn't always pluck the ball, as we saw on the sidelines. Once he starts doing that consistently, he'll be there.
Young man who really matured this past year. He was suspended last year before the Texas game for some immature comments on Twitter. Here's Finch, and Finch with a really good-looking juke move. As Sam Hall came up empty with the missed tackles, Finch picks up the first down.
They've had a lot of great running backs here at Oklahoma, and all the great ones have been able to do what Roy Finch just did right there. I think back to Greg Pruitt and, you know, Joe Washington, guys like that. He has a little bit of Joe Washington. I say it every time we have them. But that little bit right in there where you can just do that jump cut, he's got it.
Now they go with the inside handoff, and that is Trey Millard. Millard goes 249, plays the fullback position, but they'll give him the ball and give him touches in spots like that. He was one of the players they were most excited about in the 2010 recruiting class.
Yeah, he's a 250-pound guy. He's got good speed. He can make you miss. He can be a tight end if you want him to be. He's a fullback if you need him to be. You can have him the ball deep in the backfield. Very versatile.
61-yard touchdown run against K-State. He can motor. Second and 7. They get blockers out in front for Stills, and he gets the corner and goes down the sideline before he is eventually forced out by Ahmad Dixon.
Giuseppe, who did he follow? Trey Millard.
Trey Millard. Yeah. He had the big fullback out in front.
This is what he can do. This is just short motion coming from inside out. Now gain the edge. And watch how he takes the first one into the second one and allows for that big play down the left sideline.
Boy, Miller did a great job of sealing that edge, too, along with James Hanna, the tight end, out in front. So a first down just outside the 10, so it's not first and goal. Here's Finch inside the 5. Good, hard-charging run by a 5'7", 160-pounder.
You can see the maturity in Roy Finch, and you can see that he's picked up his game. Yes, he has that ability to make the jump cuts and all the little movement inside his great feet. But also, as you saw right there, he can be definitive and just come straight up the field hard.
Not the kind of guy you think of as a workhorse, carry the load because of his body, but they really rely on him with Dominique Whaley out for the year. Second down now from the 4, and Bell comes back in. Millard is in the backfield with him on second and a long 2. Little delay play, and Bell powers his way into the end zone. Mike Hicks was on the receiving end of the Belldozer.
It was the Belldozer. And what he did was had some good patience, Giuseppe. Watch this. He's going to take the delay, let your people get in front of him, and now pick your spot. Lower your shoulder when you have to, but he's just following old Ripkowski. Good block up front. Well done by Ripkowski.
You had a 255-pound fullback in Ripkowski leading the way for a 245-pound quarterback in Blake Bell. And with that effort, got ourselves a tie game, 10-10. And as we were preparing all week long for this, we were thinking, okay, explosive offenses. You know the quick pace of Oklahoma. You know what they're going to do. If I told you Baylor was going to be right in this game, you wouldn't think 10-10 with some sound defensive efforts.
No, what you would have thought was that Robert Griffin III was having a big night. And that he was either running, beating with your feet, or making some nice throws. And both those things are here, but it's been the defense. And I think Phil Bennett's defense, he's rolled the dice a few times. They've played physical up front, and I think that has really kept them in this game in this first half.
Oklahoma, number 5 in the country, trying to stay alive for position in the BCS title game. This is a short kick that's fielded by Goodley, and he dives ahead, crossing the 30. But back to business is Griffin. He's going to launch it downfield, looking for Reese, and he's wide open. What did we say about quick strike? How about that?
Giuseppe, it was play action. That's part of it. But the route that was run was just beautiful. It doesn't get much better than that.
69-yard touchdown reception to Tevin Reese, and you can see how upset Bob Stoops is as Baylor instantly returns after Oklahoma had just punched it in. Let's check in with Aaron.
Coach, after Baylor's quick strike, we saw you talking to Javon Harris. What would you like your defense to pay attention to here on situations like that?
He's a deep player. Stay on top. He's just biting on. He's trying to play it too tight.
You also mentioned before the game taking care of the task at hand, you know, not looking ahead. What's the number one thing they need to worry about here at the half?
Nobody's doing any of that. We just haven't played very well offensively. Defensively, we played good up until that play.
Thanks, Coach. All right.
Thanks, Aaron. Aaron brought up Javon Harris. He was beat on that 69-yard touchdown by Tevin Reese. 17-10 Baylor. Now let's go to John Anderson and Jesse Palmer for the Capital One halftime report. Gentlemen, Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Aaron Andrews with you here in Waco. Baylor has never defeated Oklahoma in 20 attempts, but right now a halftime lead, 17-10. And Matt, stats are fairly comparable from the first half. The difference in my eyes, the big quick strike ability downfield with the receivers of the Bears.
Yeah, there's no question, the two big plays down the field, but lost in all this, at the beginning of the game, we saw that Oklahoma defense pounding Robert Griffin every time he threw the ball. All of a sudden, they've started to protect, give him time, and he's able to make those throws. And then Phil Bennett, the defensive, let me get that straight, the defensive coordinator for the Baylor Bears, he has dialed up a couple of nice pressures, and he's taken some chances, and they've paid off in the first half.
Now let me offer you this, as you see Bennett there, who's going to have to do more of that defensive effort. Oklahoma gets the ball to start the second half. They've outscored opponents 118-10 in the third quarters of games this year. So look for the Sooners to potentially get on the board quick here in this second half. Here is Finch on the return. And Roy Finch out past the 30-yard line. And as you see Griffin's numbers, of course, he is opposite one of the most statistically impressive quarterbacks in the game, Landry Jones, back out on the field. Here's Brennan Clay, and Clay a gain of about 2, and here's Aaron Andrews.
Hey, Joe, you talk about the quick strike by Robert Griffin at the end of the first half there. Well, and speaking to his head coach, Art Briles, he said he wants to have quick tempo here in the second half. He thought they sort of slacked off a little bit. They need to pick it up. As for the defense, he is so happy with them. Said in the second half, need to play with a little bit of emotion, but he loves their tenacity.
And he could also use plays that sparkle as much as those shoes you're wearing tonight, EA. Jones, he has the strike downfield, and he connects with James Hanna, who breaks free inside the 20, all the way down to about the 12-yard line. Impressive stuff by Jones and Hanna.
Well, we talked about the speed and the athletes that are on this roster, and it's play action to the left that's designed to pull the middle of the field to that left side. Hanna fills that right side void with a perfect strike from the quarterback.
54-yard reception to the big tight end. Brennan Clay now straight up the middle, and Clay with about 8.5 yards, finally taken down by Sam Hall.
That was attitude, and where it showed up was in the offensive line. That was pure power. They came off the ball, good fundamentals. And fundamentals is the key at any level of football. It's fundamentals which got them beat on those big plays in the first half. And now it's carrying them, looks like, that offensive line.
And the big quarterback, Blake Bell, comes in. 2nd and 2. Bell handoff Millard, and he just bulls his way in for the score. We told you, Oklahoma in the 3rd quarter this year, they're used to romping.
And they got a little bit of a chewing at halftime because they came back with fundamental football. And that starts up front. Donald Stevenson, the left tackle, 59. Shed, 74, the guard. Eichert, the center. Tyler Evans, 75 inside. Lane Johnson, 69, the right tackle. They came off with what you call a flat back and moved that line of scrimmage.
And now Michael Honeycutt ties it up. They didn't waste any time at all. They had the big strike to James Hanna, and then the power game with Trey Millard. We got a tie ball game here in Waco. High pressure kind of game for Oklahoma with so much riding in these last few weeks of the season, and nobody knows that better than Coach Bob Stoops. This is what he looked like just about a half an hour ago when they were trailing by 7 and somebody was getting a talking to. And this is what he looks like, Matt, moments ago tying up the game.
That's the happy Bob right now. In the first half, he was the not so happy Bob, and now he's just a pensive Bob.
The only coach to reach all 4 BCS Bowl games and the national title game, and he's hoping to somehow pull that out this year in the chaos that is turning into the BCS rankings right now. Antoine Goodley on the return, and Goodley is taken down at about the 23. Robert Griffin III batted in the air, and it falls harmlessly to the ground. That was Casey Walker who had the deflection there. Casey Walker is wearing number 12 tonight. That is in honor of Austin Box, who passed away this offseason under tragic circumstances, and his memory still lives on every week. They leave an open spot in the pregame stretches. Locker remains untouched, and the number 12 carries on. And nowhere to go that time. Frank Alexander and Corey Nelson were quick to get to Terrence Ganaway.
2 guys that we spoke a lot of in the first half. They were bringing pressure, and Alexander was beating Cyril Richardson, that right tackle, pretty regular in that first quarter, and then it slowed down. Big 3rd down here for both sides.
Remember, Oklahoma defense playing without Ronell Lewis, their star defensive end, who was injured earlier. 3rd and 11. Griffin all kinds of time, and that's going to be close to the line to make as Kendall Wright came up with the catch. Looks like Travis Lewis who tackled him, Matt.
Looks like a good spot right there. It depends which foot he puts it on, his right or his left.
Remember, our yellow line is not an official marker.
But a nice job by Wright to have a presence of where that the sticks are. Well, they're going to bring out the big boys. Maybe try a false count here.
From their own 34?
Yeah, try to get them to jump, perhaps. You never know, Art Briles. Yeah.
Well, it's happened before in big spots like this with teams trying to disrupt things and get a signature win. Randy Edsall did it from his own 19 last year against Pitt and converted it, and they went to a BCS Bowl. Griffin, you tell me.
No.
I don't think so at all. That was David King stepping up. And this is a turnover on downs. How about that from David King?
Art Briles dialed it up, and they being Oklahoma, they won the battle up front, and they won it by coming off the ball low. And you think their defensive coordinator Brett Venables is fired up about that? All they have to do is be as intense as their defensive coordinator, and they'll play well.
David King, by the way, is the guy who's filling in for the injured Lewis.
That was big. They came off the ball nice and low.
And now it's great field position for Oklahoma to take the lead here. Jones, downfield strike, and that is complete inside the 5 to Kenny Stills.
That was all Kenny Stills. That ball is underthrown on purpose, and then it's up to the athleticism and the kinesthetic sense that Kenny Stills brings to the receiving position.
And this is the spot on the field where big Blake Bell re-enters the game, the 6'6", 245-pound redshirt freshman. He is basically the direct snap power back. Trey Millard also in the backfield with him. Bell looking for room and finding it with ease, his second touchdown of the night.
Joe, they go to power. They know that they're letting you know they're going to come with power. And Ripkowski, he's in there for a reason. Millard's in there for a reason. You see those two big blocks?
Blowing it up.
That's the reason. They're physical, and they're just saying, listen, we're going to blow you off the ball, and then they go and do it.
Millard goes 249, Matt. Ripkowski goes 255, and they're clearing the way for a 6'6", 245 quarterback. Excuse me? And it is a touchdown lead for the Sooners. Remember, Baylor went for it on 4th and short. David King stopped Robert Griffin III. Venables was loving it. And now a touchdown lead is the reward. Waco, Texas is home to Dr. Pepper, the oldest major soft drink manufacturer in the U.S. And the Dr. Pepper Museum includes the original 1906 bottling plant, one of the finest collections of memorabilia in the world with soft drinks. It's one of the first things you think about when you think Waco. A cold Dr. Pepper and a little barbecue.
And the bridge.
Yep. And if the Baylor Bears can get after it here, maybe a signature win to this college football season. But right now, it's Oklahoma's typical third quarter effort that has them up 24-17. Short kick returned by Goodley. And Goodley still on his feet and finally driven out at about the 27. Keeps it himself, and he is crunched after a gain of 2, and another flag comes in.
Illegal shift offense. 2 men moving without resetting. That penalty's declined. 2nd down.
You know, typically the rap on track guys, and he's a world-class hurdler, is that you wouldn't give that descriptive to him.
No, you would not. You would say that they're steeped in a pusillanimous sort of fashion.
A world-class hurdler who won the Big 12 hurdles when he was an early enrollee in the spring that he came to Baylor out of high school. It should have been his senior year in high school. Instead, he was a track All-American. 2nd and 13. And that ball is floating in the air and picked up by Kendall Wright. Touchdown Bears. Sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good. The bounce into the arms goes for an 87-yard touchdown.
You know, Joe, let me just say this right now. This is going to be the top play on the Sports Center top 10 play. Guaranteed.
Lock it in. 87-yard touchdown. The ball tipped in the air, and Kendall Wright picks it out and runs it in. It was intended for Tevin Reese,
who stopped his route, slowed his route down, allowed the defender, actually they undercut him and got a hand on it, but as fate would have it, took it straight in the air, and Kendall Wright's right there. Watch Tevin Reese, he's the inside guy right up top. Now he slows his route down, and Wart gets his hand on it, pops it in the air, Kendall Wright, touchdown.
What a way to tie up the game against the 5th-ranked team in the country. And sometimes, Matt, you need those kind of plays to pull off this kind of a game.
There's no question. And Robert Griffin III is like, yeah, I can't believe that just happened.
And he looks to the heavens and says, I'll take it. Now, any way you can get it when you're playing Oklahoma. Here's Trey Franks. And Franks is met at the 27-yard line. Finch spins out of the way and just gets back to the line of scrimmage as Nicholas Jean-Baptiste would not let go of him.
Yeah, it looks like Jean-Baptiste, he came to play tonight. A week ago, he did not play well. I watched that tape, and it was, for a guy with his skills, was embarrassing.
Phil Bennett told us if he doesn't play better, he's not playing. He's been playing better tonight, Matt, right?
He's been playing pretty darn good.
2nd and 10. Jones looking over his options and then decides to run it and makes a very nice move to get ahead for the first down.
Not known as a runner. And what he does when he pulls it down, he's going to make you miss right there. Who's that, Mason? Yeah, Gary Mason Jr. Not good.
11-yard scamper for Landry Jones. You know what he can do through the air, and you see it with the 300-plus yard games consistently showing up in his box score. And here's Roy Finch, and Finch is corralled. Very good pursuit that time by Mike Hicks and Chris McAllister, both of them getting over there for Baylor.
Yeah, and they made the tackle, but Ahmad Dixon made the play. He did not allow him to get off and get to the outside, which is where he really wanted to get to. But he fought off the block and forced it back inside and allowed the others to make the play.
One of the highest ranked recruits in decades to come to Baylor is Dixon. 2nd and 9. Pressure up the middle, and they got to him.
There's our guy,
Nicholas Jean-Baptiste.
I like that he's making plays because I like to say Jean-Baptiste.
Parlez-vous.
And he can turn around, though, and thank his coverage because they had nowhere to go with this ball. Well done, keeping the top to the coverage the whole time. Underneath is there as well, and then Jean-Baptiste with a big sack.
They need to get to midfield here on 3rd down. Crowd has come alive. Tie game, looking for a defensive stop. And it's incomplete off the hands of Kenny Stills.
And he knows it. He knows he just wasted a great throw and a big opportunity. 3rd and long. He gets to where he has to get the hole in the zone. And the ball's right where it needs to be. And he doesn't pull it in. That's on him.
Remember, Ryan Broyles, the ultimate go-to guy, out for the year with that torn ACL. The NCAA all-time leader in career receptions. Somebody has to step up for Oklahoma. Tressway with the boot. Directional kick that was a bit short, but takes an Oklahoma bounce all the way to the 15-yard line.
Field.
Quick snap to Ganaway, and he runs for close to 10 yards. Good inside run by the 240-pound senior. Now they pick up that pace, Matt.
And they need to. They keep him off balance. It's the same thing that Oklahoma tries to do to their opposition. And now they're getting a little bit of the dose back at him.
Well, you just blink with Robert Griffin, and he's over 300 yards. He's gone for 330 and 2 touchdowns. Looking to add to that here. But here with green grass ahead of him, look at the speed. And he smartly settles in before making contact inside the 35. But you give him that one moment to make a decision, and he's downfield.
And he noticed it right away. He saw the coverage, and he saw the passing lane, which turned into a running lane, and you're not catching him.
24-yard run by RG3. Now it's Ganaway's turn. And he will be tackled for a loss that time by Corey Nelson and Tony Jefferson.
If you're sitting at home and you're wondering why the official stood over the ball, they substituted offensively, so he has to allow the defense time to do it.
That is Tony Jefferson. Plays that hybrid linebacker safety. They call it the Roy Williams position after one of the all-time greats.
And Jefferson's play sets up this 3rd and long for Baylor.
3rd and 17, trying to get down to the 25-yard line. Empty backfield for Griffin. Can he get out of that mess? Backed all the way up to his 40. And then he is able to get it complete, but obviously well short as he found Jared Salubi.
The guy who's impressive. Now we know that Robert Griffin III has world-class speed, but Corey Nelson is in hot pursuit of him, and he does not back down or lose a step as in his chase.
Seems like we've called his name a lot tonight, doesn't it?
I'm really impressed with him.
They are going for it on 4th and 11, I guess in what they consider no man's land of the 36-yard line. Risk reward. Will they get it? They bring pressure on 4th and 11. And a diving effort that time by Terrence Williams, as well as the flag. Remember what happened just moments ago with Williams.
Pass interference. Defense, number 32. That penalty's declined. First down.
On 4th and 11, Williams pays them back.
Against their best defender, and yes, it's the right call, and Williams, with the long face of the sideline, now can put a smile on it.
Baylor threatening now. Look at that play action. Did he ever sell that? Touchdown, Jordan Niver. Oh my, did RG3 sell it, and did Oklahoma buy it?
We got ourselves a humdinger going on. Because RG3, 370 yards throwing, a lot of big plays in this game, some great catches.
Earlier in this 3rd quarter, Oklahoma had all the momentum. But Baylor now has scored 2 unanswered.
Okay, here's the sell right here. Hard sell down inside. Let everybody bite. And then here he comes. Delayed off the top side. Ball where it has to be. See how he threw it to the outside of Wirt? Hard sell right there. Gets everybody, and they caught him in a blitz.
Baylor is hoping will be one of the biggest wins they've ever had in school history. They've never beat Oklahoma.
That doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. The flag comes in as Oklahoma will have good field position. Brandon Williams, just about 1.5 yards for the true freshman from Brookshire, Texas, one of the top recruits in the country.
And that play, the tackle was made inside, but Jean-Baptiste made the play. Had a nice push up the field and forced everything back inside where it looked like Coffey was able to clean it up.
They needed the big 335-pound space filler to have a big night, and he's doing so. 2nd and 9 now. Empty for Landry Jones. A little bit of pressure off the edge, but he gets it complete out to the 47-yard line to James Hanna.
James Hanna's had a nice night here tonight.
Sure has.
Had a couple of big plays. And now we got that 3rd down.
4 catches for 90 yards for Hanna. And once again, Floyd Casey, as the last 20 seconds of the 3rd quarter count down, the crowd comes alive. 3rd and 3.
Phil Bennett is signaling as fast as he can on the sidelines.
Could it be one of those special nights here in Waco when finally victory is theirs over the Sooners? 0 for 20 previously. We got a thriller here in Waco, and Oklahoma is facing a 3rd and 3 against the upset-minded Baylor Bears. And complete for the first down to Trey Millard. Glad you're with us. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, and Aaron Andrews here in Waco, Texas. Number 5 Oklahoma trying to stay alive in the BCS title hunt as a one-loss team. Baylor has never defeated the Sooners. 0 for 20. And they're up a touchdown. Stills unable to get to the edge as he was forced out by Elliott Coffey. Jones intercepted. K.J. Morton with the pickoff.
That's on Landry Jones. Morton plays it well. He had position the whole time. Landry Jones, just an errant throw. Well protected. You see Hannah at the top. And you see he was just hanging back there. He was waiting on it. Great job of sinking your coverage. Poor read by Landry Jones. He knows it too, Joe.
He does indeed. Jones, who has broken all the all-time records and been so good for so long, but at a crucial time like that, mistakes can be costly. Let's see if Baylor makes them pay. Griffin downfield, and in stride is Sampson. He breaks free, cuts down to the 24-yard line. Here come the Bears.
Keep in mind, this was the offensive line that was getting pummeled at the beginning of the game, but not anymore. And because of the protection, Sampson gets to the middle of the field, and then he's just off to the races.
50-yard reception for this 1st and 10. Oh, a bad snap. And Griffin is going to try to make the most of it, and incomplete is what he needs.
That is smart.
And that'll get it back to the line of scrimmage. Had he just jumped on the ball, that's a disaster.
And it took a fortuitous bounce, he's able to pick it up. But this thing, he's not even ready for it. It just goes flying past his left shoulder. You see how it just bounces up, and he's able to get outside the tackle box and throw it past the line of scrimmage, and that saves the down.
Philip Blake is the center. He's a Canadian who is considered an NFL prospect, goes 6'3", 320. So now it just shapes up as a 2nd and 10 for Griffin and the Bears. And here is Griffin, tried to stiff arm his way to some freedom, and a flag comes in right at the spot. As Travis Lewis maybe got a chunk of the face mask.
I thought actually that was a pretty good play by Travis Lewis. He came from inside out. That's hard to do against
Personal
Griffin.
foul, face mask, defense, number 32. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the run, automatic 1st down.
Watch him come from inside out. He got it. He got the steal.
Referee Mike DeFee called it number 32. It's obviously number 28, Travis Lewis. So the ball will be placed at the 11-yard line.
Actually, Joe, I think a pretty well officiated game here tonight.
I agree. We had a couple touchdowns brought back with penalties. So 1st down at the 11. Ganaway. Touchdown, Baylor. The interception by Landry Jones came at a big price.
And Philip Blake, the center, who just snapped that errant snap, was right in the middle of the blocking to be able to gut that Oklahoma defense.
It all started with K.J. Morton, the Baylor cornerback. Right spot, right place with the pick. And then Terrence Ganaway makes the margin 14. Griffin has had completions of 50, 55, 69, and 87, and the 79-yarder was called back by a penalty. Trey Franks. And the Sooners will start from about the 30-yard line. And this game could greatly disrupt those BCS standings. It's Brandon Williams, and Williams cuts back and does so with ease for a gain of about 12 yards and a first down. Williams is the true freshman who was an early enrollee last January.
Still plenty of time. They don't need the quick strike.
Jones on first down. Complete. And another, well, close to a first down to DeJuan Miller. Meanwhile, in Oregon, USC has pulled the upset. So Oklahoma fans would love to see a rally here, as number 4, the team that sits just in front of them, has lost. Can Jones pull off a rally of his own? Williams now, and look at Brandon Williams. Another 12 yards as they cross midfield down to the 40-yard line, tackled by Sam Hall.
Nice vision by Williams. Starting to the right, they cut that backside off, and he sees it right away and just out the back gate. They're on a move.
Coming up on the 7-minute mark, but they move so fast. Plenty of time if they can score here. And complete again. DeJuan Miller gets free for another first down.
Really nice job of protection inside, and then because of that protection, you're able to get isolated. And a poor job of tackling on the corner. You can't do that.
Bob Stoops looks on as his offense marches down the field. Remember, Roy Finch, as Aaron discussed, banged up, so Brandon Williams getting time at running back. And this is incomplete. He tried to connect with DeJuan Miller.
That's a high-low concept, and it's 3 levels. And so what they're going to do is they're going to take Stills, get him to the top. Miller is in the middle, and underneath, what you don't see, and that you got to make that catch. What you don't see underneath, you see the back right there. They get you in 3 levels, and then they put you in between as a defender, and you have to make a choice. If you bite underneath, they throw behind you.
Jazz Reynolds not in the game. He was banged up. 2nd and 10.
Looks like pressure.
He lofts it, and it is complete inside the 10, down to the 5 to Trey Franks. They are knocking on the door, Matt.
Bill Bennett dialed up a blitz, and they come with pressure off the edge, and it's well protected. And Landry Jones does a nice job of managing that pocket. See how he slid a little to the left and then throws the ball where there's no defender and allows Trey Franks to go run it down.
And here comes that jumbo group with Blake Bell. He has 2 touchdowns on the night. It is just too easy for Blake Bell, and Oklahoma is right back in this game.
They have run that play 4 times. Every time it's the same play, it's the same result. They don't even disguise anything. Here comes a big fullback, Kowski.
Trey Miller right back there. Just good power football. But if you're going to be a fullback, that's the name you want on your back. Ripkowski. That just sounds like a blocking fullback, doesn't it?
Sure does. Moments ago, Oklahoma closed into that lead, cut it down to a 7-point margin, and the big headline, Matt, is that Baylor's never beaten Oklahoma. 20 times they've stepped up to the plate. 0 for. Number 5 is in trouble, but still lots of time left.
They believe they can do it. They have the opportunity to do it. Let's see if they can finish it.
And Goodley will just down it. Play action. Griffin is going to tuck it and run it. Remember, he has that world-class speed, and he slides down to the 45 for another first down.
One of the dangers of having the running skills, defensively, you can take everything away, but once you set that separation from the line and your backers get good depth, he takes advantage of it.
Inside handoff goes to Ganaway, just a couple of yards there. Let's show you the BCS standings. Of course, last night the thriller up in Ames started to put everything into this blender, and it's been mixed up all day long. Number 2 has gone down, number 4 has gone down, and what will happen and how will this unfold here in Waco is the next question to be answered. Second and 7 now. Screen game.
That's a backward pass.
And that is going to be marked all the way back at the 37-yard line. As that lateral went out of bounds, Reese couldn't control it. DeMontre Hurst was in defensively, so that'll back him up here on a 3rd and long.
DeMontre Hurst read that really quickly. And even had he caught that ball, he would have been tackled for the loss. Of course, it went out of bounds and sets up this 3rd down.
As Aaron reported earlier, Ronell Lewis, Javon Harris starting defensive end and starting free safety for Oklahoma, injured and out. Can their defense come up big here? 3rd and 17.
One-on-one on the outside.
Griffin with lots of time, looking over his options, and then launches it downfield, but overthrows the intended target, Terrence Williams.
He wanted Kendall Wright. Initially, he had one-on-one to the top side, Terrence Williams. Now here's Kendall Wright on the top side. That's what he wanted. But the coverage by Fleming was impeccable. And they undercut him with Colvin, 14. And so it took it away, forced him to pull it down, and sets up this punt.
And it sets up a golden opportunity for Oklahoma to try to salvage things here as they will get the ball back. Spencer Roth onto punt, and Kenny Stills sets up camp back at the 23. It's a line drive kick that backs up Stills to the 14. And he settles down at the 24. So the final chapter of a wacky weekend of top 10 college football in front of us. Stay with us. On the left, you have Baylor faithful hoping to break the 0 for 20 streak against Oklahoma. On the right, you have Rally Caps. Number 5 is trailing by a touchdown with just 3:29 to play. Finch back into the game, and he gets the call, gets a good block, a first down, and a lot more. That is Roy Finch, the little 5'7" sophomore who's in for Dominique Whaley, who was the starting running back and is out for the year. He got a good block from the left tackle Stevenson there, Matt.
Yeah, that left side in this fourth quarter has been giving him some running room. They start it one way and come back the other way. Stevenson and Shedd have been doing a nice job.
Finch again, this time nowhere to go against that front seven of Baylor, as it was K'Ron Johnson who was able to find him.
Baylor defensively in their interior, they've stepped to the plate. We've seen Jean-Baptiste make some plays. We've seen K'Ron Johnson make some plays. They've done well.
Brennan Clay now comes in as the back on 2nd and 10. Jones with time, and he goes to Clay out of the backfield. And it'll make for a 3rd and about 5.
And so this is all 4 down from here. And Landry Jones shows real nice patience. He wants something deep, but he'll take it underneath.
Here's Jones now. Over the middle and in stride is Jazz Reynolds.
Last time we saw Jazz Reynolds, they were taking him in to look at that arm. He took a big hit early. And now he's back on the field making plays.
And Oklahoma hurries back up to the line and snaps it. Just over 2 minutes to play, and that is complete to Jazz Reynolds. One of the young receivers trying to step in and step up for Ryan Broyles, the NCAA all-time leader in receptions, who is out for the year with that torn ACL. 2:04 and counting down the play.
Landry Jones, 432 yards of passing offense.
They go with the screen, Trey Franks, and he's going to have a Sooners first down as the clock will stop as they move the chains. 141. 5th-ranked team in the country trying to stay in the hunt and make that argument for the BCS title game as a 1-loss team.
James Hanna went off. There's a little confusion now as to what should be done.
First down from the 18. Jones over the middle. Oh, and that was dangerous as Rodney Chadwick had an opportunity.
He wanted Kenny Stills in the worst way, and he locked on him. And that is very, very dangerous because everybody was right there. Chadwick had a chance to put it out of its misery right there.
.435 for Jones, but he needs a little more magic here. Complete to the 11-yard line to Rattery.
Rattery in for Hanna, who just went off a little while ago. Doesn't have the same movement that Hanna has.
3rd down, they can get a first down at the 8-yard line.
4-down territory.
Jones, plenty of time, goes with Clay. First down, and he scoots out. It'll be 1st and goal, Oklahoma, with 55 seconds remaining.
Blake Bell, and he's been in. He's run it 4 times for 10 yards, but he's had 3 touchdowns.
They actually refer to this package of him coming in as the Belldozer, and let's see if he plows straight ahead.
Last time they were in their formation, the last few times, they're going to run a power back inside. Baylor has not been able to stop it.
Also has Trey Millard there, the fullback, with him. Here he goes. Bell into the end zone. He does it again. His 4th touchdown of the game.
So a little bit of a change, but the same personnel group using the same power, this time play side instead of bringing it around. Looks like they're going to go
Blake
for 2
Bell
here.
is staying on the field. So on comes Michael Honeycutt, the redshirt freshman, walk-on kicker, to tie the game and keep hope alive in the BCS. 38-38. 51 seconds remain.
Well, Joe, we said who was going to step to the plate, and the answer was real simple. It's Landry Jones. Landry Jones, 447 yards of passing, and the last drive when they needed to make the big play, he came through. Started with the running game, and it was Roy Finch out the left side, and then Landry Jones took control, patiently moving them down the field, and when the big play presented itself to Jazz Reynolds, it was there. Goes to the tight end, back underneath to Rattery, and then this throw to Clay, which sets up the Belldozer for 6.
Blake Bell, 6'6", 245. 4 touchdowns, the last of which ties this game. 5th tie we've had. Oklahoma scored 2 touchdowns in the last 5 minutes and 4 seconds.
Landry Jones has made one poor throw here tonight, which was an interception. And then he's come back.
And guess who gets his turn, though? Man?
Exactly. Now comes Robert Griffin III.
And Goodley will take a knee. And one of the most dynamic playmakers and exceptional athletes in all of college football will have his crack at it.
Now is the time that the Oklahoma defensive front needs the same pressure they had to start the game.
They're going to keep it on the ground with Ganaway. No timeouts for Baylor.
Well, they're saying they're going to go to OT.
Second and 6. Remember, the 2 timeouts for Oklahoma remain. Griffin is going to keep it himself, and he is dangerous in full stride. Griffin picks up a block but could not stay in bounds, but a big gainer out to the 45-yard line with 36 seconds remaining.
And that timeout just turned around and bit him in the rear end. Courtesy of Robert Griffin's speed. Boy, as soon as he saw the coverage, he reversed his field and he was out the gate to the left side.
That's Aaron Jones. Twice he has hit a 50-yarder in his career. Some more real estate to be conquered for the Bears. Here's Griffin now, trying to escape the pressure. And Griffin into midfield, into Oklahoma's side of the field. And that stops the clock at 28 seconds.
Well, Thomas Wirt got in his horse, because he can run. We know that Griffin has world-class speed. But Wirt saw that and knew that he had a lot of green and forced him out of bounds. That's a big play by Thomas Wirt.
They need about 13 more yards for that successful range of Aaron Jones. Pressure off the edge. It is complete to Kendall Wright. Kendall Wright gets through, and Kendall Wright is down inside the 34, where Aaron Jones has hit before. 21 seconds as they move the chains. The clock stops momentarily. Remember, no timeouts for Baylor. Empty backfield for Griffin. He has time, launches it to the end zone. Touchdown! Terrence Williams! The extra point just sneaks through. a 34-yard touchdown with 8 seconds remaining. Robert Griffin III adds to his legacy. 479 yards and 4 touchdowns on a magical night.
And he buys the time with his feet, and then his eyes find the back of the corner. But keep in mind, Art Briles was willing to let this thing go. He was going to run the clock out, but they tempted fate, and fate answered with a 6-point throw to seemingly finish this game.
It seems there has always been something about Robert Griffin III. Only 8 seconds remain.
I'm still stuck at the timeout by Oklahoma.
Well, they thought maybe. They wanted to see if they could manage it. Instead, Griffin struck. And now the squib kick. He takes a bounce. That's a live ball. And Baylor tries to come up with it. And they may have. And they have. Baylor is going to close this show. A special teams mistake by the Sooners. They're bringing the ball back to midfield and that bench where Baylor stands 5 seconds away from beating Oklahoma for the first time. 0 for 20 prior to tonight.
They're just going to squib it through, and no one makes the decision to pick it up. Roy Finch goes down, and then it's a live ball. And that's just a great job.
That was Clay Fuller.
Clay Fuller with propose, tries to pull it in with his feet.
And when the story of this college football season will be told, they will remember this weekend. That put everything upside down. Iowa State, USC, and Baylor just made a mess of the BCS.
What a tremendous job Art Briles has done.
Aaron Andrews is with the star of the night.
The star of the night. And how are you still standing with over 500 total yards for yourself?
Our offensive line did a great job the whole game. We knew it was going to be a war, and I'm glad we came out with the victory.
When you walked off the field after you threw that touchdown to Terrence Williams, you just sat there and you had no expression on your face. What was going through your mind?
God works in mysterious ways, and you know, we had a great game today. That touchdown was a testament to that. So to win a game like that, pretty special.
This school has never been in a position like this before. Biggest win in school history. They're chanting RG. What do you think about this moment?
It's a great moment. I'm glad we can share it with you. Now I'm going to go celebrate with my teammates.
They're actually chanting Heisman, by the way. Go celebrate. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Let me tell you something, Aaron. The Heisman race is wide open, just like the BCS race. And Robert Griffin III just put forth his resume. An absolute thriller here in Waco. Number 5 is a loser. Baylor beats Oklahoma for the first time. They were 0 for 20 coming in. 45-38 your final. Be sure to tune in next week to ABC's Saturday Night Football, 8 Eastern. Notre Dame takes on number 9 Stanford. For Matt Millen, Aaron Andrews, and the crew, I'm Joe Tessitore. So long from Waco. Let's get you to Robert Flores for the Ford wrap-up.